Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and I'm back with another episode of my Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2020 playthrough. Getting into this season now with the Penn State Nittany Lions. This is my first year with them, and last episode I played out the first game. Since then, I've kind of simmed through every game on that non-conference schedule, and we're now ready to go in conference. First opponent, which is going to be Maryland. And they are, you can see here, they are just really, our coach who does scouting thinks they're going to mop the floor with us. It's 90-10. I don't think I ever saw a bigger advantage than that. Even, the 3 seasons I've been with Austin Peay, I've never seen something that big, 90-10. Maybe I've seen them in 70s, 70s to the 20s, but man, that's crazy. And what I'm going to do today is sim through a few games. I'm not going to play any out. We'll just see how that works for a while. But I'm going to kind of recap where we're at as a team, and then we'll sim out a few games and see what kind of start we have for the schedule. I'm a little worried about it for a few reasons. Of course, going in, I didn't really know what kind of team I was going to have. But this Penn State team has really not performed too well in the last 3 seasons. Coming off, I think last year they were like 3-17 in the conference. Let me see if I can see the history. No, it's only going to show me, I guess. I'm sorry. It's only going to show me, I guess, my history with the team on that page, but. Since I've been simming, to give you an idea, the record in the 3 seasons I've been running this sim, 33-68. So I knew they were going to be bad. But another thing is, I can't say I've been really impressed with the play. Definitely not impressed with the consistency of this team. So we finished that non-conference schedule 6-3. When I was with Austin Peay, that was a great target. Because I felt pretty confident that I could finish 500 or above in conference, and that would give me 15 or so wins, satisfy the board. If I had a good run at the OVC tournament, I'd finish with a good season. But we lost some games. I just don't know how we lost. So start off, I'm going to recap those games and let you know what I'm talking about. So we beat Omaha convincingly at home that first game, 99-70. Then we lost to Lamar at home, 76-80. I think Lamar is in maybe the Southland Conference. Here they are. Their record is 8-4, respectable. They've beaten pretty much the teams that they played, but man, I just did not expect us to lose to a team like that after that convincing win. So that was a letdown, and get back to the Big Ten here. But then, after that one, we sorry, there it is. I may have could have typed it in there. But after that one, we played Manhattan, which I think they're in Kansas, if I'm not mistaken, this team is. But 75-66, not too bad at home. Good win. Then we went on the road against Connecticut, and I figured for sure this is just going to be a blowout. This is going in. I thought this was going to be our toughest opponent in that non-conference schedule. We actually beat them 73-68. Had some good play from Morris, who's a senior power forward. 22 points. I mean, he had a good game. He hasn't been a big scorer overall, and this was easily, I think, his best game. So I was like, wow. Even though we had that Lamar loss, I was thinking maybe this team's a little bit better than I'm thinking. You're going to have a fluke here and there. But then we went back home and lost to Gardner-Webb 70-67, which kind of leads me to think that the fluke was probably this Connecticut game. So that was 2 very disappointing losses in those first 5 games. We beat a team we probably shouldn't have beat, but then we lost 2 I think we should have. I would probably trade that win, that Connecticut win, for those two losses, if that makes sense, and I would have felt better about the team. But then after that, we started playing a little bit better. Texas State, UC Santa Barbara, we won easily, almost 20-point victories there. And then we went into this Caribbean Challenge and we lost to Tulsa. I'm not too worried about that one because I think Tulsa, I think they are a pretty decent team. And let me see what conference they're in. So they're in the American Athletic Conference, but they're 10-3. They played an okay schedule and looked good in that tournament. They beat Middle Tennessee, it looks like. Maybe lost to Davidson, and they've played Maryland. So their schedule, George Washington, Massachusetts, I don't think their schedule's been all that pushover coming out of that conference. So, I'm not too worried about that game. But, man, those two, the Lamar and the guys, was it Gardner-Webb? Yeah, those two losses really worry me. And so we finished out the schedule, like I say, 6-3. The board, if I go back to the office, they still want us to win, I think, 15, finish above 500, which I think we would have to win 15. I don't know if we can do that. If that's the way we're going to play, I mean, if we're gonna have trouble against teams like that, even though they were fairly close losses, the Tulsa loss wasn't. We lost 14, but man, I don't think you should be losing to those two teams at home, Gardner-Webb and Lamar. But we're gonna get started at it, and we're gonna see what we can do. I would like to get through maybe 5 or 6 games, maybe in this episode, and I think that would be a good starting place and stopping place too for where we're at. But I want to look at the team before we go there. First off, I'll look at the stats and we'll see who the leading scorers are and some of the leading players. It's a little bit of a surprise as far as I'm concerned. One thing, David Robinson, this guy's just a sophomore. He's a small forward with a 4 potential. He's looking really good. I like his size. He reminds me of Jepson, who we had at Austin Peay, which is probably our best player. He gives you scoring and rebounding. He gives you a pretty good complete picture. The stats on him, it might be that I need to give him more minutes. I mean, he's at 24 right now. I mean, it looks like he might be a solid bet at this role. So right now I'm not really going to do too much with the depth chart, but it's possible that I may just not have to worry about getting some of these other small forwards too much time. Now after him, I'm really surprised with Duke Pepper. This guy's a shooting guard, but I've moved him over to point guard, and man, he's really delivering at that position. 5.8 assists a game. I really like those numbers out of a point guard. That was something I struggled with at Austin Peay, just getting somebody who's going to have that kind of a assist total game after game. Looking at the game logs, he's had some really consistent scoring runs here. You see those 3 games there. And he's also, I think, been pretty consistent with the assist. I mean, since that Connecticut game, 8-7, 5-8, 5-7. Turnovers, not too bad. There were a few games, and it's one of those situations where when he plays bad, we may have a bad game overall, and that's why I think this guy has been really important to the team so far. And then after him, D'Elia is another shooting guard. He's a junior with a 3.5-star potential. He's been pretty good at scoring. I think I'm going to have to give him most of the minutes. He's getting like 21 right now. Last 2 seasons, he's gotten way more than that. But I'm still dealing with this team from a perspective of like they're young, and I only have a couple seniors on the team, and I really want to make sure that I get the most out of all these guys, so that next year, if there's any development that's going to be made with some of these, like Ferguson, for instance, who's also a 3.5-star, potential shooting guard. I want to give him a chance to get some of that potential. So I think it'll make us better next year. But those are the top scorers. Rebounds. It is again Bo Morris, power forward. I really think he's probably the best overall player on the team. He's not giving us a lot of scoring, but eventually I think maybe he will. You know, that Connecticut game, 22 points. It's going to probably depend on the matchups he has. But after him, Robinson, D'Elia. So the outside guys are getting most of the rebounds. And then I guess one more. Let's see. So we looked at assists. Odell as well, coming off the bench, has looked pretty good. This guy's a freshman. Point guard, I don't worry too much about that potential when you're a freshman. I noticed with Austin P, that's going to fluctuate. So if he gets some time, he might turn out to be a good point guard 2-3 years down the line too. So we'll see. I do like what I see from him in limited play time. I mean, he's only getting like 11 minutes a game, so it's not too bad what he's giving me. But the real weak point, and I knew it was going to be the weak point, but it's really bad. I would say worse with this team than anything I had to deal with at Austin P, and that's center. I'm going with Mark Sandin as the starter, even though he's a sophomore with just a 1-star rating. I'm just hoping that he develops up to his potential. But this guy's probably not going to give me much at all this year. I'm sure he's outmatched probably in every game. I don't know if he's had a game where, maybe against UC Santa Barbara, a pretty good game scoring-wise, but defensively, he's just not there yet. I don't know if he will be there. What does it give me? So I don't really get to see like whether this guy, I think that's only with the recruiting, whether they're A, C, B, rating the different aspects of their game. But defensive rebounding, for instance, offensive rebounding, shot blocking, defensive ability, even at his best, if he meets his potential, he's still going to be average, 5 on a 10 scale. So I don't know what this guy's going to give me, even if he develops into 4-star center. But he's what I've got. The other center on this team is a walk-on, and so Sandin's a guy I got to go with until I can get somebody better. And it brings up, of course, that sore spot now. I really should have handled the recruiting better than I did. I haven't seen any positive movement from this guy yet. I think his ratings are holding steady. After he gave me that verbal, he went down to a 1-star. His position ranks went way down. I mean, this guy was, I think, 20 in the 20s, maybe, for his regional position rank, and he's just really gone way down. And it's possible that I'm going to have to deal with this again next season, with the center position. I got a lot of good guys out there that I could still, like Brett All. He is a 3-star and looking even better. So, man, I really messed the recruiting up. But I don't know what else to do with the center position except give Sandin most of the time. I mean, he's got 24 minutes in the depth chart right now. And Clark, Clark has some upsides in terms of rebounding. He's a better rebounder, really, than Sandin. You can see it in much limited time. He's averaging more rebounds. But he has virtually no, offensive potential. And I don't think there's too much being a walk-on. I don't know how much time I want to give him, other than he's got to be in there to relieve Sandin when he gets tired. But another thing I have tried to do is put, just like Jennings was kind of an odd man out there at power forward, so I've been moving him in to center. If he plays okay, I might put him back in there more than he's a sophomore with not too much potential, but I might put him more at center, honestly, than Clark, because ultimately I think Jennings will have more room to grow than Clark will. But that's where the team's at. It is what it is for now. I think I'm going to stay with the strategies I've been going with, which so far we're going with about a 65% using the offensive set. I may adjust that down once we get into the conference. Depends on how they start playing. Mostly going with flex, some high post, and 5 out. We are going to be focused mainly on the outside every game, and see how it goes. Maybe we'll be able to pull some upsets. In terms of what I'm looking for me to be happy with this team, I think if we could get to 15 wins, I'd be pretty happy. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15. That was making 6. So it's a 20 game. Looks like it's a 20 game conference schedule. So that would mean I would need to win 9 games or in conference. So 9 and 11 in conference would be tremendous, I think, for me. So let's get started. We'll look at the standings and then get moving. Nobody else has really played any in-conference games, I think, yet. But you'll see several teams here ranked already. Indiana, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Purdue, all with just 1 loss, except, Purdue's undefeated. And then you got Michigan 8-1 and Iowa. I expect these two to jump up there. Maryland is actually not playing too well. I think they were preseason in the top 20, but they've fallen out. But man, that's a scary conference right there. Ohio State struggling. There's some teams that I've noticed have been losing to some pretty easy competition, but that's a tough conference. So let's go ahead and get started. First game, Maryland, Penn State. I'm going to turn off the sim and we'll let her run. I'll be able to tell up here pretty soon whether we win or lose. And we win. Wow. Okay. Good way to start. 7-3 now. 1-0 in conference. Maryland may not be the team they were expected to be preseason, but that's kind of a surprise. 86-85. It's kind of game I kind of wish I'd played out, but man, went to overtime. Wow, what a game. We managed to outscore them 12-11 in overtime to win it. David Robinson, forward. I think he's the small forward on this team. He's the player of the game. But I'm telling you, this looks like some good play from every starter on this team. You got Bo Morris, 14 points, 5 rebounds. Pepper, here's what I'm talking about, man. This guy has been playing really good at point guard. 9 assists, 1 steal, 4 turnovers. That could be better, but 11 points. That's pretty balanced play from a point guard. He didn't look too good from 3-point range, but that's okay. I can kind of live with that with those other numbers. And then Sandin, his best game, I think, of the season. I know 22 minutes, even with overtime, he didn't get a lot of play, but just 2 personal fouls for what it's worth. 16 points, 7 rebounds. That may be his career high in rebounds. Let me see that was his best game rebounding wise, and this was best game point wise for him. So too early to really put much on that, but that if he gives us that kind of a game every once in a while, we'll be in good shape. And then off the bench, nothing too special here from the bench. So we just probably got lucky here, but the shooting was not that great. 31 for 70, 11 for 31 and 3-pointers. We had a couple more than they did. Looks like free throws were where the difference was. Well, no, I can't say that because they went to the line more. Although had they been shooting a better percentage, we would have lost the game. But points in the paint, they get more in the paint. I'm expecting that. But everything else pretty even. Lead changes 23, times tied 11. Man, what a start to the season. All right, so let's keep moving. It may take a little while to go through here, but here we go. And one thing I want to mention too, while we're doing this, waiting for the sim, it's been a while since I've posted, and the reason for that is I had a little bit of an issue with the game, and this came about after a Windows update, and I think it was a Java security update, and I'm almost positive this is what did it. But after that update, I was seeing some weird errors with the game. I was seeing like the depth charts wouldn't show up. It would just be like a screen that told me I wasn't the coach, so I couldn't see it. Just some weirdness went on. And so I went online, and apparently another player had also had a similar experience. And he found a fix for it, which was to run this program in compatibility mode, which I'm not a big fan of doing. But it did fix the issue so that I'm able to continue and play. So just a heads up, if you see an issue like that, to get into compatibility mode, you just basically go to whatever the icon is that you use to open up the game, right click, and there should be a choice in there in that menu to open up the game in compatibility mode or check compatibility, I think might be how it looks in Windows 10. But that saved me because I was really sweating the whole save. I was thinking I was going to have to trash the save, but at least it allowed me to get through that. All right, so another round of Big Ten games, and we got some updates right here. Wisconsin lose to Michigan. Michigan is probably going to be ranked next week. Maryland come back from air loss and just hammer Illinois 87-54, and then Wisconsin loses to Purdue, and I'm thinking Purdue's going to have to move up right now. They're still undefeated, and that was a huge win. So they've won 2 games in conference already, 13-0. That was a huge win for them. So let's go ahead and keep playing it out. One of the things that's going to be neat with this playthrough, now that I'm with this bigger team, I'm probably going to be paying more attention to the polls and the media with this one, because there's going to be a lot of teams in this conference who are going to be in those rankings. I'm pretty sure. So now we got another big test, 17 Indiana at home. Now, if I look at the scouting report, I'd be willing to bet Indiana's a huge favorite, but we'll take a look at it just to see. Yeah. So they're 80-20, and I know I'm going to probably be comparing a lot of this back to that Austin Peay game, but just to give you an idea, like in the coaching, this guy's a 3-star. He has a 3-star scouting ability. Whoa, I didn't want that to happen, did I? So he's running the practice. I think I've got this messed up. So he should be running the practice. He should be doing recruiting. Oh, and he should be doing scouting. Okay, sorry, I may have messed that up, but this guy has a 3-star scouting ability. So we'll see how that works after changing it up, because I'm thinking that I should be getting a little bit better accuracy out of the scouting. So I may just really, that might explain why that was a 90-10 and 80-20, hopefully, against Indiana. But let's go back to the game. It pays to check those things, I'm telling you. All right, so here we go. And we are 8-3, 2-0 in the conference. Okay, big surprise here. I'm just really, really shocked by this. All right, so let's go back to this score. A pretty convincing win. Looks like we didn't have to go to overtime. 71-65. And Michigan State, big winner over Ohio State. Iowa, big winner over Nebraska. So let's take a look at this box score and see how we won it. Uh, a close second half, but we really had a decent advantage on them in the first half and just kept going. Derek D'Elia, shooting guard at 15 points, player of the game. Um, Pepper, another good game. Man, I like this guy. Um, not as many assists, but 13 points. Now the turnovers, that could be bad. I'm thinking that turnover is. Let me make sure. I'm thinking the turnover though is how many he causes, not how many he makes. So that could be a little bit better, but still, I do like this guy being in that point guard position, and really I like it because it gives me these two guards here who look to be the best guards on the team. They're going to be getting some good minutes. Boy, the center not so good. He got into foul trouble early, so that means to Clark. Clark picked up 19 minutes and really not too bad. I mean, just one rebound, but 5 assists, 4 points. You know, I think whatever you get from him is going to be kind of gravy. And then Lee off the bench with 7 points, I believe. He's another guy I'm really hoping to get some time because he's got great potential and just a sophomore. All right, and then the team thing, we had more points in the paint. That's a surprise. Looks like we shot really well in this game and had way more free throw attempts, sorry. And so they struggled. Didn't have as many free throw attempts and were just 5 for 11. So great start for us so far. I really would not have expected we would come out of that first week 2-0 in conference. So, with my goal of 9 wins in conference, I mean, all I've got to do is go 7-13 the rest of the way, and I'm going to finish with the 15 wins at least. All right, so let's take a look at the inbox. Probably going to have some scouting reports here, and it's going to be interesting to see what the scouting looks like too. So we got Maryland again. They're going to be a little bit later. Yeah, boy, 88-12, and they're saying that our bench is the only thing that looks good. And this was scouted by. Let me make sure that this guy is scouting. So it's Troy Jones who's doing the scouting. That's who I want doing it. All right, so next scouting report, Purdue. This might even be worse. Purdue's still 13-0, 90-10. So we're not really expected to do much. But look at the standings. We're 8-3, 2-0 in conference. Purdue, now they're number 7, so they moved up. Michigan State 5, and Wisconsin and Indiana still in the top 20, but Maryland struggling. All right, so let's see who we got next. Nebraska, and we're home. This is probably one that we'll lose if it holds true to the way we played. Nope, we win. We're 3-0 in conference, 9-3 overall. Man, this is a shocker. This is kind of, it's early. I don't want to get too overconfident, but it kind of reminds me of that first season with Austin Peay. We just kept winning. Maybe this team, it was set up a little bit better than I thought. All right, so 68-50, biggest win so far in conference in terms of points. Looking at the rest of the league, Illinois beats Wisconsin, upset there. Purdue easily over Michigan. Maryland, they're starting to win now, looks like. So they may be a better team than when we saw them, when we play them again. Ohio State, Indiana won. Looking at the box score on this one. So, pretty balanced play here. Nothing really stands out. David Robinson, 10 points, tied for the team lead. He's player of the game. But other than that, I mean, it looks like this was a really good overall team win. Sandin, again, didn't look good at center. Only got 7 minutes, fouled out of the game. Clark, he actually played better for what it's worth in terms of, well, I can't even say that. I mean, I don't know how to rate these two guys because they're so bad. Sandin at least got 6 minutes in those 6 points in those 7 minutes. Pepper, not his best game, but he was plus 25, which is really good. Douglas, another one. Again, I think he's that guy. No, he's a senior. He's backing up. Small forward is really strong on this team, I think, right now. I mean, he got 18 minutes, so I don't think, D'Elia is shooting guard. I mean, I think I've got the depth chart where they need to be right now. Odell was good off the bench for what it's worth. Well, it looks like he was anyway. So team-wise, they just did not shoot. 18 for 58. We were not much better, but we were a lot better in three-pointers and free throws. So that got us the victory. So now we're going to have, I forget who we're playing next. It may be Minnesota, but we'll see here shortly. Usually I think we get 2 games a weekend. Nope, I was wrong. Well, at least we're not playing today. St. Mary's. That was a good win for them. All right, so I'm gonna take a look at yesterday's games because there were a couple big ones here. Wisconsin, Maryland. Wisconsin won. Michigan State, Illinois. Rutgers lost to Michigan, and then Purdue easy over Minnesota. So if I'm looking at the standings now, it's probably going to be similar to where it was, but Purdue's still hanging out there on top, 15-0, 4-0 in conference, but we're unbelievably 3-0 in conference. Then Michigan State, Ohio State, 2-1 in conference. Things are kind of topsy-turvy right now. In Wisconsin, they're 2-3 in the conference, 12-4 overall. They may not be ranked as high. It may even be out of the top 20 after this week. And you know what I'm going for in the back of my head. You know what's kind of rotating around there, and I just don't want to come out and say it. However, if we win 1 or 2 more, I'm thinking we gotta start getting some attention in those polls. So we got Penn State, Northwestern. This one scares me. Northwestern need a win. We're on the road. I think I can look at this scouting report, and it probably doesn't mean that much at this point because we've beaten everybody, and this is a game where we're actually favored. So I don't even want to put any weight on that. Honestly, I feel like that doesn't mean anything. But let's go ahead and roll the dice and see what we get. And that's what I'm telling you. So we are 9-4, 3-1 in conference. It's going to happen, and I guess that's unfortunate that it happens against the team we should have beat. And we also have an important email here. I'm hoping it's not a big injury. Uh-oh. All right, so we got some friction on the team. A.D. Lee was mouthing off about David Robinson. So we're going to have to address that, obviously, but let's take a look at this game report. Man, that's why I shouldn't have said about the ratings, because, of course, I was thinking it, yeah, one more win, we're 4-0 in conference, and we might be getting some attention, but I should have just left it alone. Not a good game, our worst game offensively, I think, of the year. Yeah, Morris was okay. I mean, this guy, he's a power forward, right? He's not scoring a lot. I mean, but it's overall his play has been pretty good. But same with Robinson. I mean, he gives us a lot of points. Pepper, after I talked him up, has moved. You know, he's not playing as well. I think that's still a good line. If he would get a little bit better with the turnovers. Looks like he finally had a game where he didn't have any turnovers, so that's good. Just 7 points. So this was an off game. You just have to chalk it up maybe to, you know, it was a road game, so that didn't help. Clark here though, and Sandin, I do like the rebound numbers I'm seeing from him. 9 for Clark, 6 for Sandin. So for what it's worth. But Sandin's been in foul trouble just about every game. If you look at the game logs on him, look at 7, 12, 14 minutes the last 3 games. I hope that improves. And I think it was, well, Lee. Man, he's a sophomore too. And his relationship looks okay, but I'm going to have to go and address this with the team, go to the dashboard, see who's really upset. David Robinson, his personality's not friendly. But I mean, he's the best small forward we got right now. David Robinson and AD Lee, I mean, there's going to be some battle. Maybe, you know, in the long run, maybe it's not too bad that you have a little talk between them. Jeremy Jennings, he's not happy, but, you know, he's not one of the bigger players on the team. And Bo Morris, he may not be happy, but he's leaving. I think the relationship's already gone a little bit better. So I guess, I mean, do I really need to address this? More than likely, if I don't, it's going to lead to trouble. So I'm going to just... I'm going to have to phone up AD Lee, and it may lead to some trouble, but I think I have to address it because he's not the starter. Okay. So took a little hit. First thing dinged, but then I talked to him again, and he said he's going to try. Maybe that'll help. Robinson, I believe, was the one that he was mouthing off to. So I'm getting a little late in the episode. I'm going to play one more game if I can get to it, and then we'll take a look at the polls when we get to that. Gonzaga, man, they're off to a bad start. 10-8. St. Mary's win on against them. All right, so scouting report time, I'm sure. Iowa, what's this one going to be? It's probably 90-10. No. 69-31, not too bad. Standings, gosh, I hate that we lost that one. But 3-1, everybody's got a loss now, so that kind of evens it a little bit. And we're 9-4. Polls in the media. So we got Villanova, Florida Gators, Arizona, Kentucky. Purdue is 5th. Michigan State right behind them at 6th. So you got Wisconsin in there. You got Indiana in there. Indiana looking good. And I think that's it from our conference, right? Just those 4 teams, or 5 teams, was it? Purdue, Michigan State, Indiana, Wisconsin's 4 teams. I'm surprised that Wisconsin is still up there as high. Um, and let me take a look and see if we even show up in the well, we're not to the bubble watch yet. Sorry. All right, so let's go ahead and try to play another game. It's going to be Purdue. All right, let's get this one over with. This will be a good place to end it in the episode. 9-5, no surprise. 3-2 in conference. Hopefully, it wasn't a bad loss. That's all I'm going to say. Hopefully, we got some scoring again because we've been really struggling last few games with that. Last couple, anyway. All right, so how bad was it? Not really that bad from a defensive standpoint. 59-49, but I believe now that was our lowest point total for the year. You see Maryland beat Michigan, so Maryland might be turning things around for them. I don't know. 49 points. I don't think we're going to see too much positive out of this one. And it looks like leading scorer had 9 points for us, and that was D'Elia. Pepper really off his game. 4 fouls, just 9 points, 1 assist. So his numbers are probably going to start looking a little bit worse. They are. Robinson, not too bad. Morris, we need better play from him. He's obviously I think the leader on this team. And then off the bench, Odell wasn't too bad, getting some play time with Pepper in foul trouble. And then the 2 centers. Sanding 9 points, I mean, I guess that's good. I mean, if you look at this guy's ratings, that's where he maxes out, really. He's a scoring center. He's not a defensive center. But, man, two rebounds. And I forget how many blocks, but probably minuscule. And then Clark off the bench. I just don't I don't believe you're going to get much development from walk-ons. So I don't want to – I know I've said that earlier, but that's why I don't want to adjust it too much down. I think I still want to give Sandin the time there. But other than that, just a poor game. 17 for 51 shooting. They didn't shoot too much better, but 2 for 18 3-pointers. That killed us. If we'd have made 3 or 4 of those, we would have still been shooting bad, but we would have won. Our free throw shooting, not too bad. There's a lot better. But now that leaves us, we're starting to settle in, I guess, into that schedule. It's gonna be what I thought it's gonna be. Tough, but all in all, I think we're off to a better start than I would have predicted. 3-2 in conference, 9-5 overall. So what would that? I mean, 6 wins from 15. So we just got to go. We're straight up halfway through the season. So if we were finished 18-10, I would be overjoyed. But so we got 14 games left. We can go 6-8 and finish above 500 with 15 wins. So that would meet the goal of the board and really my goal as far as I'm concerned. So that's not too bad. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to play some games offline, and I'll probably sim through a lot of this season and come back around Michigan, Ohio State, and then finish out the season. I'm hoping we'll keep this play up for the rest of the year and have a good start to it. I really don't like. I've never, anytime I play these sports management games, I don't like just, and especially with college basketball, there's no real benefit to playing bad or having a bad season. Like in other sports, professional sports, that's what you sometimes have to do to rebuild because then you get the draft picks. But I just think there's no real benefit in a college sport to have a bad season. You don't get anything from it. It's going to hurt your recruiting and it's really going to impact a lot more than if it was in professional, I think. So I hope we do keep playing, and even though it may mean that this team's better than I'm going to be able to make it. That's what happened at Austin Peay. The first season was the best season we had. I still want to win some games, if that makes sense. But anyway, thanks for watching. I know we got a little long here. I appreciate it, and I will see you next episode. And we'll be finishing out this Big Ten season. Thanks.